Hello and welcome back to Talking Female Health with Amy Connor and Lisa Yara. I am Lisa and I've got my lovely co-host here, Amy. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
And since last time we spoke about boundaries and especially boundaries in terms of the festive days that are coming up or that we are in the midst of, we already raised this topic a few times where it was about presents and gifting things and boundaries in that regards. And we thought it might be worth the while to have a separate episode on presents and spending money on presents, because like we know, and I know for myself definitely, that I sometimes have this notion of, oh, but my present needs to cost a certain amount of money, otherwise it's not worth it. For example, I've got that with my husband, where I don't know where it comes from, but there is this belief it has to cost this sum, otherwise it's not a good present. Even though he doesn't like force me to, he says I don't need much, and I believe him. But there is this strange idea in my head, this belief that presents, especially for the most loved ones, need to cost a certain amount, or otherwise it's not of value or enough value.
Yeah.
So Amy, how is that with you?
Absolutely. And that's something that I've definitely come across personally. And me and my husband are such a strange couple because we don't buy each other presents on the whole. And we're really happy with that and would rather have an experience together or, have time together. But just when we first got together, I would always feel uncomfortable, especially around birthdays and Christmas, because people would say to me, "What did Tom get you?" And it was like the question was loaded with, "How much does he care? Like, how much value is he put on you?" And I'd be like, "Well, he didn't really get me anything, but I don't really need anything. Like my dream birthday is just going for a dog walk and a pub lunch and just having time with him." So yeah, it's really interesting that you've brought that up about the cost, because it's almost like we are literally trying to put a value on that relationship, but also ourselves, as to, how much we care about them and how much they mean to us. So yeah, that's really interesting that you've brought that up. And I'm sure there's be so many people listening to this that will have a budget that they have for every person on their list, so X amount for partner, X amount for parents, nieces, nephews, children, that kind of thing. And that's one of the things that I started doing when I started getting nieces and nephews, is I'd think, oh, I'm going to spend X amount on them for birthdays and Christmas. And then it just got really uncomfortable because sometimes they didn't need something that cost that much. So I'd be like, do I give them the cash difference? Or, I spent that much on so-and-so and I spent that much. But now we've completely removed spending money on in the sense that spending money on a gift, and we give them our time and our experience, like an experience with us and time with us. Because I can remember as a child, and I'm not saying that I was neglected in any way, but it was very rare for me to have one adult or two adults, a couple, giving me their undivided attention. And I see, because all of my nibblings have siblings, that when we get to spend time with them one-on-one, how precious it is for them to just have that experience of, oh, it's just me and Auntie Amy and Uncle Tom. And even if we have all of them, like, it's that thing of there's somebody who cares for us, who wants to spend time with us, and we can go and do things that cost next to nothing, and they have the best time. So I think through being an auntie, one of the things that I've learned is that like putting that financial label on something, because I've done it in the past where I've bought them something and it's literally been like, thank you. Like it's just going to get lost in the all the other toys and all the other things that I've been overwhelmed with today, and I'm not going to remember that's from you, and it's not going to be as special as if we go and do something together and have some fun for the day. Yeah.
And also, I believe there was this year where you went to the attraction park with your niece who had never been on a roller coaster or something. So it's like not, sometimes it costs money. It's not always that it costs next to nothing, but it's about the experience, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We took, and that was really gorgeous because so both sets of our auntie and uncles, let me try and phrase this correctly, took just her. So she had 4 adults' attention for the day. Like, we went on all the big rides because there was no younger children with us to, have to go on the teacups or anything. And it was just so lovely for us because she's 14. So we know that potentially she's gonna not want to go because she'll have friends and boyfriends and whatever else to take her to places like that. So it was really nice for us to have that time with her where we get to be with her, experiencing something new, and just because we're not her parents, there's that little bit of specialness that you can have an ice cream and you can have that, and so that was really gorgeous. And there's been times where we have spent money. Like, there was another time where we took my nephew to the zoo, and again that was an expense, but for both me and my husband and him, the experience was worth the expense because we've got those memories of him, getting our undivided attention at the zoo, and we all enjoyed it. So I think it's really beautiful. And something I want to share with you as well is I got a voice message from I've got a friend who lives in Ireland. I'm in England, she's in Ireland, and we send each other ridiculously long voice notes every few months, like giving full detailed catch-ups of all the family.
I've got that kind of friend too.
And she sent me this message a few weeks ago, and she was telling me all about the children, and these are all primary school age children. And they went on a holiday in the summer together as a family. And she'd said to the children, okay, so you've got a choice. Would you like Father Christmas to bring you presents, or would you rather go on another holiday in the summer? And all 3 of her children were like, we want to go on holiday. And I was like, that is amazing that they are given that choice and that understanding that, Father Christmas isn't somebody who has no financial restraints and can just shower anybody with whatever present they want. And I just thought that was really beautiful that they'd all chosen the family experience together, making memories over presents, on, and as my friend described it, plastic tats that they're not going to play with for longer than a month or so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And potentially, I want to say there's nothing wrong with that either.
No.
It's something that delights the child. And I was reminded of this. I don't know if you know about that, but there are apparently 5 love languages. There's a whole book and all that about. And I'm not sure I get them all together, but that one is, some people's love language is presence. That's how they feel love, and that's how they give love. And that's okay too. And for others, it's quality time with one another.
Yeah.
Then one language is helping each other. Then one is speaking supportive, lovely words to one another. And I don't know right now what the 5th is, but
is it affection, acts of like physical touch? And
I'm not sure if that's that could be. Right. And it's really interesting. If you haven't taken that test, I strongly recommend you do, and your partner does as well, because it seems like for you and Tom, you have a very similar love language, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But in other
Yeah.
couples, that might not be the case. I know that, for example, in my relationship, like the first two are the same, and then the third is different. And for me, what I would sometimes really love, what I kind of need in order to feel precious and supported, is words.
Yeah.
So, and my husband, he doesn't like at all to use the word. So the times I hear from him out of his, like when he's the 1st to say I love you, I can probably in 13 years of being together and 5 of them being married, possibly still have in 2 hands the times where he of his own choosing started saying I love you.
Yeah.
And that's hard for me to take. And also knowing that that's not his strength, I'm not pushing him, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's good to be aware of these things.
Yeah. I really love
up.
that you've brought the love languages up, because Tom and I, when we first moved in together, we struggled for a bit to get the balance right between, you know, who does what, and, you know, just finding that ground to land on. And I came across the love languages and did the test, and I realized that my love language is acts of service. So, and it gave me the language to be able to say to Tom, this is what I need to feel loved. And then, you know, and vice versa. So it was a really gorgeous conversation to have. And I really love that you've pulled me up on that it's not everybody's love language. But I think the thing that really is the battle, so to speak, especially if you've got children, and is that society puts this pressure on us to value ourselves through gifts and, you know, the
material stuff.
Yeah, the materialistic stuff. And it's like I said at the beginning, like it used to make me feel really uncomfortable when people asked me, you know, what did Tom get you, or what did you get Tom? And I'd think, oh my gosh, do they think that I don't care for him, or I didn't make an effort? And we still have these conversations together, you know, like he'll say, I feel like I haven't made much of an effort for your birthday. And I'm like, but I'm happy. You know, like I'm really happy. We both love each other. It's fine. Like, it's okay. It doesn't matter that the rest of the world's saying that X, Y, or Z should be happening. And I think at Christmas, I've noticed it with the TV adverts. There's not only the pressure to buy presents and, you know, financially invest in presents, but it's over the years extended to making sure that the food, like there's so much, it is a pressure, I guess, from the big supermarkets and the food suppliers for us to, if we're hosting Christmas or hosting over the festive season, to put on this amazing spread that goes above and beyond, and, you know, have all the different types of cheese and all the, you know, different pieces. And I was talking with a client the other week, and, you know, I was saying to her that whenever I have people to my house, and this happened yesterday, I had my nibblings round and my friends, like they can come round, they can play in the house, they can do whatever, but I won't cook because I want to be present for them. Yeah. So they know, because my friends travel, they've got a bit of a drive to our house. They know that if they come to our house, we get a takeaway, because I don't want to be trapped in the kitchen on the time that I get to be with the children, because I don't get to see them all very often. So I want to be present and be able to talk to my friends and talk to their children. And it's just, you know, because my client was saying that she feels the pressure to cook for everybody, and, you know, she has all her family around, and she doesn't feel that she gets to speak to anyone or see anyone. And I was saying to her, but it's okay for you to say, everybody bring something, or we're going to get a takeaway. Because It's, it's okay for you to enjoy that time as well. And it's not a reflection on
Right.
you not caring about your hosts because you haven't got 4 different meats in the oven or whatever, the pressure is. So I think that's a big piece as well, that the pressure to give over the festive season doesn't just come in the form of gifts.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I want to circle back to something you said. You are happy when you and Tom just spend the day walking the dog and getting some nice lunch. And that's what I needed to understand at some point as well. It's about, like, I want the other person to feel happy. And I can go to a lot of length to devise a good present for people. I sometimes start in the middle of the year, just putting out the thought there, but not in terms of what money is there, but like what would make them really happy. And that of course requires me to put myself in their shoes, because it's always out of there. And I even had it one Christmas where I got asked what I wanted for Christmas, and I told people what I wanted. I had a few things that I wanted, and I told it to the people I knew would love giving me that special gift. For example, like headphones, not these, but I had earlier ones, and I knew my father would love to gift me the headphones, and I said, please, I would like to have them. And that makes it kind of fun if you don't stress yourself. Like I don't stress myself out on that, right? And I'm also a big fan of having these like wish lists. Because then at least that's what the person wants. And if my husband has loads of like tools for the house on there, my father loves gifting him that because it's practical.
And like I love the wish lists, like, and it for me as well, I had a huge, like, lots and lots to heal around receiving. And it was only, I think it was maybe last year or the year before, that I actually created a wish list for what I wanted, because it just felt uncomfortable for me to receive. But then I realized that by doing that and not telling people what I wanted, exactly what you just said, I was taking away the joy from people being able to buy me things. And then I'd end up with them buying me something that I maybe didn't need or want. And then this year that I set this wish list up, and it was huge. Like I got a bit carried away with it, and just everything that I saw, I was like, oh, I'll put that on the wish list. And everybody who bought me a gift was just like, oh, how did you set that wish list up? Because it was such a great idea. And can you do it every time? Because we just know that we've got you what you want, and it's the right size or shape, or whatever it was. And I was like, oh yeah, people like to give. Like, it's
and they
nice
like to
receive.
give things they know will delight you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, from somebody who likes to give meaningful gifts as well, like I get really uncomfortable just buying for the sake of buying. So when I can give a meaningful gift, it's amazing. Like when someone says, this is what I want, or I want money towards this really big thing that I want. Great. That's what they want to do. That's easier for me because it's right there for me to access it. Yeah, definitely. So definitely start a wish list if you can.
What I think can be sometimes hard is when you've got children and you kind of don't want any of them to feel excluded, left over, not getting as much as the other. So I think for parents, that's a really hard struggle. I know that my parents-in-law, because I'm a single child, so I don't have siblings, but my husband has a sister, and their parents, they have a certain amount that they give for Christmas and a certain amount they give for the birthday, and they give both the same amount. And if they have a wish for a present and that doesn't fill up that amount, they will just get the rest attached to it or whatever, to kind of make sure that no one feels they didn't get enough.
Yeah, that's lovely. Like it works quite similarly in our family as well. But I think, like, going back to making children making sure children are tracked equally in terms of financial pieces. I really like what you've put there about they have the set amount, and if it doesn't fill it up, they get the leftover. Because I know when I was younger, I can remember not wanting a particular expensive present at the time. Like I'd think, oh, there's all this pressure on me to think of a present that I really want.
No.
But yeah. And then I think, oh, do I want a TV or do I? And I'd be like, no, I don't really want, and so to have that, because I think sometimes, like my mum still does this. She has an amount that she spends on us, and we can either say that we're going to have a present or the cash. And I think last year we needed a new washing machine or something, so we went for the cash. And then, but she's still like, oh, but you've got to have something to open on Christmas Day. So she's still like doing the little stocking filler things. So I think it's about meeting everybody where they are. And again, there's it's really interesting how the money piece comes in, because you can feel uncomfortable asking for things and also comfortable receiving things. But if we have these open conversations, like I'm 38 and I'm just at the point with my mum now where I can say, please don't buy me that, mum. Because I'll be in a shop and I'll go, oh, that's nice, just flippantly, and then she'll have bought me it, and I'm like, be really careful what you say, Amy, don't look at anything. But no, I can say to her, if you want to get me something to open on Christmas Day, I'd like these pajamas, or I'd like like or this moisturizer that I use all the time, or whatever it is. And just being in that comfortable space where I'm like, oh, it's okay for me to receive these things. And it's also okay for me to ask for what I want. Yeah.
Also in terms of like, why is our topic related to female health? Yeah, because that's exactly it. Because it's all tied to our pelvis, our pelvic region, our navel, our personal worth, as you say, and our sense of worthiness. Do we feel worthy of receiving? Are we maybe not worthy enough if we don't buy a gift that's a certain type of expensive? But what's really funny is when you talked about, like, sometimes we've got something later down the line that we want, but why do I have to find something for Christmas? My birthday is in November, and then Christmas is in December. And like, I have to, in that short amount of time, I have to come up with lots of different ideas. And like, that's the moment where it's easier to say, hey, for Christmas, give me that book maybe that I really want to read, or a new notebook or whatever, and then the rest as cash, because I'm pretty sure come February there will be something that I really, really need.
And the other thing I'm going to say as well is that I don't buy my friends or their children presents. And this is, so I've, like, my closest friend, we've just never bought each other birthday cards or gifts or stuff, but we just got that relationship where we're like, I love you, like, it's okay. And then when she started having children, I very much became aware that I felt like I wanted to gift her more, because she was giving so much to her children. And she was like, and I would say to her, oh, I'm so sorry I haven't got so-and-so a present. And she'd be like, the fact that you turn up and you want to play with them, and she's like, that's more exciting to them. And their house is full of toys. She's like, there's so many toys in the house. So I made it acceptable to myself for me to be the auntie that doesn't turn up with a big present, and doesn't have to have all of everything happening to be of value to my nieces and my nephews and my friends' children. Because I think previously when I first became an auntie, I thought that was my role, to like come up with the biggest present, and
Yeah.
and everything that I buy them is secondhand. That's another promise I made myself, that I wasn't gonna be buying them brand new stuff. And yeah, like, just having that relationship where you're removing the material aspect of it, to me, is really freeing. And just thinking, oh, and then so like my friend, I think, when I know she needs some time out, I can take her out for lunch. Or like we can do something together where it's just time for me and her, and I can treat her that way, because I can see, not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, but how much of her resources go on her children, and it's nice for her
And
to get
not just
something back.
financial resources,
Yeah,
right? Also
exactly. Yeah,
energetic.
exactly. All of that. So I think it is okay as well to not give gifts. And, because if you're in a family like mine, where everybody's cousins are having children and they're having children, it just gets to the point where it's huge, and it's overwhelming and completely unpractical to be able to financially treat everybody equally. I think it's okay to say to yourself, I don't have to give a gift to be a valued part of this person's life.
Yes. Yeah, it's detaching the financial aspect from the worth and value to that person. Because as you say, like, when you think back to your childhood, I don't know about you, but for me, I don't remember all the toys I had, but I remember the experiences that I had. So
absolutely.
And also with my friends, like, I prefer having one weekend a year where we all come together and maybe rent an apartment somewhere and have a good time together. Versus having presents.
Absolutely.
But again, everyone is different. We just hope that with this we can contribute to, like, both the more, because like this year it's this amount, so next year it needs to be bigger, because we have to progress this other idea that is in our society and somehow ingrained in us, that it needs to be better every time. No, it needs to be of value to that person, and only that person can decide what's of value to them. In a way. So when, of course, with little children it's a little different, but when they are like your niece, 14, they can say what they would like, as you explained with your friend, like they wanted to go on holiday instead of having big presents.
Absolutely. And then another thing actually that I will share, that my mum and dad did one year, which I thought was really gorgeous. So for all of their grandchildren, they had a jar, and it had little cards in it with the month of the year written on it. So every month they'd pull out that month's card and open up what their gift was going to be for that month. And some of them were going to the pantomime, or like cost. And then I think one was meet a new baby, because my sister's baby was due, so that was the gift, that they'd all get to meet the baby. And there was just loads of different experiences in it, and I just thought, what a great gift, because you've got it all year round, like that excitement of, and I think the December one was put the Christmas tree up, or something like that. And it was just these memories for all of them, because they're all different ages, like young ages. And I just thought, what a great gift that is to have. And it's something they can keep as well, like they can keep the pieces of paper and look back on it, and maybe do it with their children in the future. Like, there's so many different pieces to it that it can open up. So it's good to get creative as well.
Thank you for sharing that. I think we've given a fairly good amount of ideas how you can approach Christmas, but also every other birthday or anniversary or whatever other Easter, whatever other thing you are celebrating. You, depending on your religious belief and background, you might be celebrating completely different things. But just having this. And also one thing I want to say, for example, when I think of my time when I spent studying in China and I was there with all the other students, and we had a big community, for example, of African students, a lot from Congo, but also other countries. And like for them, it was always about everybody brings something to eat and then we've got a party. So there wasn't specific gifts. So I think there are cultures, and especially in our Western cultures, we've got this idea that value and money, like our value depends on how much money we make, how much money we gift, how much money the present costs that we are given. And so to really detach that from another and come back to what's important to you in life. Again, look at the 5 love languages. Look at how do you feel loved? How do you express love? And how does your partner, your children, your friends, your loved ones do? And then find your way, because you are allowed to do it in a way that works for you and that feels good in your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we sincerely hope that you are going to enjoy gift giving this year. Maybe with some new ideas and differences. If you've got any questions to any of what we've shared, feel free to reach out in the comments or via email. We will leave you all the links below. And also if there's anything that particularly hit you or that was super interesting, or if you've got an idea of a different kind of gift giving, we would love to hear that too.
Give us some ideas.
Yes. So for now, we wish you a beautiful day, a beautiful time, a beautiful pre-Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, or pre-festival days, pre-winter solstice. And speak to you next time. Bye.
Bye.